Hello ladies, thanks for joining me today. I'm going to do some standing work with you today, and we're going to work our way down to a pigeon pose. So I have some other videos that incorporate the 6 movements of the spine. So if you want to start out with that, that's about a 10-minute video that just kind of starts you off on the floor and kind of gets you moving. But this one we're going to do all of those same movements as we move along. So I'm going to have you take your blocks and put them up at the top part of your mat. And I have a blanket handy, just as a towel is perfect, but I have a blanket handy for support under my knees as we move through. So, and I will start with you up here at the top of your mat, and we'll find our feet wide. So we'll find our little toe side of the feet to be almost to the outside edge, and find your knees bent here. And shoulders relax down. And just take a moment just to check in. If you'd like to take hands to your belly for a moment. And we'll find just some little movements here with hips. So we'll just kind of start to take the hips and make some big round movements. So this is really nice to do when you're maybe in line waiting for something, or you just have a moment in your day where you're standing and you would like to be moving. And I kind of think about this as rocking the baby. And we'll find just something that feels good. And let's take it the opposite direction just when you're ready. And you can start to exaggerate this a little bit more. You can really get into it. Bend the knees as much as needed. And we just find what feels good here. And I urge you throughout your practice today just to listen to your body. So if there's any point where your body's saying this is not what I need to be doing today, that's okay. You can skip the pose, kind of fast forward, go to the next thing. Just listen to what your body needs today, and maybe tomorrow it will be a different day for you. We're growing and changing every day. So we need to be patient with how our body needs to catch up. Let's find stillness and just find our breath. And take a moment just to let go of your day and let go of all those things that you still have to do. Just be here with your baby in this moment. Then slowly we'll extend our arms up overhead, so keep shoulders nice and plugged in. Slowly reach over towards the right side, so it's like we're making a crescent shape with the upper part of the body. Right hand can come down to the side of the thigh for some extra stability here. We'll engage into the belly. We'll lengthen right arm up overhead. We'll keep shoulders plugged in. Exhale when you're ready, left side. So we find length here along the right side of the body. Find length. And again, this left hand can just rest down wherever you choose. And it can even be more up high if that's better support for you. We'll draw belly in. We'll let top arm relax all the way down. We'll bring hands in front of our heart, bend into the knees. We'll lengthen up through the front of the body. On the exhale, we swan dive down nice and slow. And this inhale, when you're ready, hands to shin, straight spine. On the exhale, we fold. This inhale, we roll up on the space that's available for us in our spine until we make our way all the way to standing. Once you're all the way up, shoulders down, bend in knees, arms open up wide. Exhale, we bring the hands closer together. So it's kind of like we have a big ball in our hand and it's getting bigger. We're blowing it up with our breath. On the exhale, when you're ready, we bring the hands, this time all the way back in. So take a moment. So notice how you felt in that last round that we did. See if maybe you want to take your feet a little wider to make more space for your baby, make space for your body. And again, bend in knees when you're ready. On this inhale, we lengthen in through the front of the body. A little back bend, but we're not trying to reach back. Exhale, when you're ready, we swan dive down nice and slow. And this inhale, hands to shins, straight spine. Exhale, we fold. In this inhale, we roll up on our space that's available for us in our spine to make our way all the way to standing. Once you're all the way up, shoulders down, inhale, lengthen, arms open. Exhale, we bring the hands closer in. We'll repeat that. Inhale, we lengthen, we open up. Exhale, we bring the hands all the way back in. Pause here. Check in with your bend in your knees. I almost forgot. And then we'll find one more time when you're ready. This next inhale, lengthen in through the front of the body. Exhale, we swan dive down. Inhale, your half lift. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, we roll up on the space that's available for us in our spine until we make our way all the way to standing. Shoulders relax down, bend in knees. Inhale, arms go wide, go long. And we exhale, we bring the hands all the way back in. One more time, we inhale, we lengthen up, we open up. And exhale, we bring the hands all the way back in. We'll pause here. Take a moment, shift your feet in so that your feet are at hip width apart. Hands come to our hips. And we'll find from here, starting to get strong into our feet and legs, so start to get strong and sturdy. Right foot takes a big step back to a 45-degree angle. So our back foot, 45-degree angle, front knee and ankle nice and lined up. So we find ourselves nice and strong and active here, warrior one. So strong here in our pose. You can add, if you'd like, some arms, if you'd like to have cactus arms here, kind of reaching and strengthening here. All those fingers being strong in the arms and shoulders too. So check in with legs here. We want to make sure that we feel strong and sturdy here. Then we'll slowly start to bring hands back down to our hips. We'll straighten into the front leg. If you would like, and I kind of encourage it, especially if this is the first time you've ever practiced this pose, stepping the back foot forward about an inch or so, just to give yourself a little bit more room. And we're gonna hinge at the hips and lead with the chest, but we're gonna hinge over towards the right side because that's where space is gonna be available for us and our baby. So from here, when you're ready, we'll slowly hinge at the hips and lead with the chest. We hinge forward, but kind of over towards the right side. Find your block and bring it underneath of your eye gaze. So it's just giving you that support that you need. So you can reach for this leg. It just depends on how far along you are, but if you're starting to feel like you need to be over here, I encourage you to use your block. And you can find straight spine here, more upright. That's going to create a little bit more space that's going to be best for you to be breathing in. But if you're able to, because maybe you're carrying a little higher, you can sometimes relax down. And so either way, if you round and relax, sometimes that just kind of takes away some of the space for breath. But we can still get the good stretch that we need, even in this straight spine, by hinging a little bit more into the hips. So any of these variations, relaxing down, maybe a little combination of both, maybe you kind of go back and forth. Maybe it feels good just to go back and forth for a pause. And then we'll slowly start to bend into the front knee. So I'm going to still have a lot of space here. We'll start to shift our weight a little bit more forward into the front foot, and we'll turn so that we have our block here in the same plane as our front foot, and we'll lengthen back leg behind us. So this is more, it's a balancing pose, but this is more getting a really good stretch along this back of the leg. So this is going to help us in just a little bit when we do our pigeon pose, because this opening up the hamstrings is going to help us to open up our hips better. So we want to just focus on being long here. So you can lengthen out through the toes really as much as you'd like. But it's really more about this leg. So lengthening out through the toes isn't the most important part here. It's more just getting this balance and getting this stretch along the front leg. So from here, we're going to take the right foot to bring it down, but give yourself some space so you can widen your feet a little bit here. Take a little forward fold. So I'm going to shift my block out of the way. I'm even going to step my feet a little bit wider so that I'm not on my mat, and just relax down to a little forward fold. So we've had our head low a minute, so let's come up to a flat spine. So we want to come up so we have a flat back here. And then bend into the knees, hands come to your hips, squeeze the shoulder blades together, unhinge to come to standing, and we'll pause here a moment. And then we'll heel toe the feet in. So if you still need a moment just to check in, that's always okay. I'm going to do a little chair pose with you just for a little bit of extra fun. So shoulders relax down, start to bend into the knees, buttock starts to sink down and back. So once you start to really sink into the knees, you'll start to get real strong into your feet and legs. So kind of ground down into the feet, engage all the way into buttocks, tops of thighs. You can really feel the strength here in the tops of your thighs. And you can be strong and active here. If you'd like some more work, you can always bring arms into a T position. If that makes this low back start to scream at you at all though, hands back down, tops of thighs. If you want to sink even further, you're welcome to, but just make sure that you have plenty of space for baby. And we'll slowly start to inch our way back up, nice and tall. And I moved both of my blocks out of the way. I just want to make sure that you have a block that's close by so that you're not reaching for it whenever the time isn't convenient. Hands to hips. Shoulders relax down. Then left foot when you're ready. So nice and strong. Left foot steps back. Back foot goes 45-degree angle. Front knee and ankle nice and lined up. Shoulders relax down. Nice and strong and sturdy. So checking in here. So active into our legs, kind of drawing the thighs towards one another. But we don't want to splay our knee in. We still want to keep the front knee and ankle nice and lined up. But we just kind of want to take that action of drawing in. So we're kind of squeezing in, drawing up, kind of hugging those abdominal muscles around your baby. If you'd like to bring arms into your cactus arms, you're welcome to it. And slowly we'll start to return our hands to our hips. Then I like stepping my foot forward, the back foot forward about an inch or so, straighten into the front leg, but a real little micro bend in the front knee is always okay. And remember last time, we were going to use this space over here on the left side. And when you're ready, we'll slowly start to hinge at the hips and lead with the chest, but lean a little bit more over towards your left side so that we have some space here. So this is going to get a nice good stretch all along the back of the front leg. And we just kind of find what feels good here. So sometimes just hanging out here is plenty work. So that's okay here. Strong into your right foot though. Kind of notice by grounding down a little bit more, you kind of get even deeper stretches. And you can hinge a little further in towards the hips, leading a little bit more with the chest just to get a little bit more stretch. And again, you can be more upright here, and you can still kind of get the hinge here. You can still get a little bit more space for a little bit more stretch. Or if you round and relax, that's just adding a little bit more back. So maybe you need to lengthen into this low back area, and this is a good pose for that too. We'll slowly start to find a bend in our front knee. Then we're going to take our block and start to reach it as far forward as we can reach, and then lengthen left leg behind us. So you can really lengthen out through the toes, and you can really get long here. But remember, this stretch is more here for this front leg for us. So of course it's a beautiful pose, and we can be long and beautiful in our pose, but we're really trying to get a stretch in the front leg and accomplish a balance. So don't let this back leg not high enough for you bother you. Just let it be where it is. We'll slowly start to take the left foot down, and we'll take it wide again. So again, I'm going to take my feet a little wide here, and you can even take them wider if you choose. Head and neck relaxes down your forward fold. And then from here, so we're going to keep our blocks close to us, so you might want to inch your box a little bit closer to you. Let's come down to hands and knees. So one knee at a time makes its way back. And we'll find from here, so I'm going to walk back on my mat so that I'm here kind of towards the top. And wrists and shoulders nice and lined up. We'll curl toes under, lengthen to a plank. Exhale, downward facing dog, sits bones high, sinking into the heels. And this inhale down to hands and knees again. And then we'll find a child's pose. So if you would like, I'm going to show you puppy first, where we walk the hands as far forward as we can reach, forehead rests down, elbows relax down. Or if you prefer child's pose, we can take the knees wider if you choose, maybe even to the outside edges of your mat, and forehead rests down. Either way, we want the forehead to rest down, and we want our shoulders and arms to be able to relax. And just pausing here, one more good breath. Then slowly we'll start to inch our elbows in a little bit closer towards us, and we'll start to find some props. So let's find our blanket to start, and I like just to kind of have mine folded so that I can take it and fold it in half. And I like the little rounded edge to be the one that's closest to my hip, and we'll start with the blanket over here on the left side, and we'll make our way to hands and knees. And I have a block handy, so I may not use the block for my pose, but that's okay. And we just find from our table the left knee starts to come forward, and the ankle starts to shift over towards the right side. We'll curl the back toes under and shift the back knee back. And we just kind of let the top of the foot relax down. So sometimes I pause here and just let this pose happen for a moment, because sometimes this is pretty big. You can, though, when you're ready, start to tuck this blanket up underneath of the hips. So some of us will need more height, some of us will need less. It just depends on how flexible you are here into the hips. Most of us, we're going to need something underneath of the hips here just so that we feel nice and stable here in the pose. And we can pause here for as long as you'd like. And so we have this space over here on the right side of the body. In traditional pigeon, we would fold forward, just straight forward. But in prenatal, we shift this space over here on the right side. So you can take it yourself anywhere you'd like. And I'm going to kind of walk you through what I kind of do with my pigeon pose. So I kind of come down to forearms just to start. And just kind of hang out here a moment and just kind of take a little inventory. Where do I feel tightness? And what's amazing about pigeon pose is that there's just not a one size fits all for everyone. So you can find what works for you. So sometimes I walk my hands all the way over as far as I can over towards the right side, but I use them for support. So I'm not straining anything. I'm just getting some deep stretches, and I kind of shift around. Sometimes I might shift and have my hands over here towards the left side. So you can just kind of gauge what you need. Sometimes you may just need to be right here, and maybe you want to take your block and rest your forehead to it. But I always need a little bit more, and I always try to find just what I need, and each day is different, so I just kind of honor what's needed each day. So if that's stillness, if that's movement, and you can kind of shift a little bit from side to side with the hips to kind of work in even some more tight places. And sometimes you can get kind of all the way in towards what you think is probably around your butt. So you just kind of find, and maybe this one is going to find all kinds of places that are tight, and just honor what feels good here. And just finding your breath. And just hanging out here with your breath in this pose. And we'll start to come out. So we're going to do it just as slow as we came in. So we'll slowly shift our hands back up. We'll curl the back toes under to shift our back knee forward. We'll remove the blanket out from underneath of our hip and start to shift back to your table. Then go ahead, shift your blanket over to your right side. And if you would like a child's pose here or a puppy, I'm going to choose downward facing dog. So you can choose puppy, child's pose, downward dog, what you're feeling today. But I'm going to curl my toes under, find my plank here. So wrist and shoulders nice and lined up and belly's nice and strong. Exhale your downward facing dog. And then knees come back down. So if you're in child's pose or puppy, you may want to come up to your table. Right knee, when you're ready, starts to shift forward. Ankle starts to shift over towards the left side. Then back toe curls under to shift the back knee back. And sometimes I hang out here a moment and just kind of check in. How do I feel? Maybe a little movement that's essential for me. Shift the blanket underneath of your hip. And then remember, you have all of this space, so you can kind of think of this as kind of your nest for your baby. And you can kind of fold forward. So if you're kind of in first trimester, you still have all this space here, you feel good folding straight forward, that's okay too. And wherever you are, just finding your space here. And don't feel committed. Remember last time on the other side, I kind of walked around a little bit, so I just kind of shifted all the way around, and I even kind of got over here. You could even use a block to get you some more height. Because our hips, there's just no telling where the tight places could be. So we're just going to take our time and spend some time in this pose and not feel like we're trying to accomplish anything, because each side's different and we just want to honor what's good for us. And I try to keep my poses when I do opposite sides like this to try to keep them as even as possible. So kind of doing similar things that you did on the other side. And just check in here. And just finding your breath, wherever you decided to be in this pose. Again, that block underneath of your forehead is also a nice idea too, for our last couple of breaths. And we'll slowly start to shift our hands just a little bit closer towards us. We'll curl our back toes under. We'll start to shift the back knee back forward. Take your blanket out from underneath of your hips. Start to shift your right knee back. And then find your child's pose or your puppy. I encourage child's pose for this one, just to kind of let the hips resettle. So forehead rests down. And just noticing how your body feels here. And we'll slowly start to inch our way back up, nice and slow. Kind of take your knees a little bit in, come down to your sits bones for just a moment, and we'll bring our feet flat in front of us, knees bent, and just have knees shifting from side to side for a moment. So just kind of resetting the hips a little bit. And if you kind of wiggle forward, just adjust your hands as you need to. And then we'll find our blanket again, and we're just going to come to a seated position just to end our class. So we'll just find our sits bones on the edge of our blanket and just find any comfortable seat that feels good for you, and just come here just to check in. Maybe closing your eyes if you'd like. Or maybe starting to bring hands to your belly, to your baby. And notice how your breath feels, how you feel, and how this differs from when you got here on your mat today. And just know that you've created this change. You did this. So thank yourself. It's not always easy to find time to roll your mat out, even if it's at home. And sometimes it's harder when it's at home. So thank your body for the work that it does in creating this beautiful baby. And also remembering to thank yourself for taking this time out of your day to nourish your body. So sending our babies love and acceptance. We will accept you just as you are whenever you're ready. And thank you very much for joining me today. I always enjoy it. Thank you.